Get started. So welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Dr. Elena Espinal with Luminescent Life and Intuitive Business Mastery, and I am excited to be coming to you for another another hour or little Monday mastery training, and we are going to be talking a little bit about how we can amplify our productivity. So if you are joining me, you can just pop in and say hi and introduce yourself. If you are watching this after the fact, feel free to post your comments, your insights, questions. I will come back and I'll answer them for you. I think that this is kind of a really important topic for probably most of us, and something that we get all kinds of information about, and sometimes it's a little difficult to figure out what's the right thing and blah blah blah. So I'm coming to you and sharing some of this stuff with you, obviously, because I have been a high performance psychologist and coach for I don't even know how many years now. And, focus and productivity is one of the main things that I have been helping and coaching people for a really, really long time. And so it is just one aspect and sort of one little piece of my entire Inflow and Fire formula. And I think it's one of the most important parts of it. So I'm going to start by saying that I think that we as a society seem to be obsessed with being productive. So are you worried about being productive? Do you feel stressed about not getting stuff done? If you're watching, feel free to post in the chat. I'd love to hear. Is this something that you think about? How can I be more productive in my life? So I think that it is no surprise, because our world is continually speeding up. More and more is required of us. And really, our working memory and our ability to focus and be productive is being greatly taxed. So I am hoping that you are getting this, and it's flowing. My live stream is not showing quite as smoothly. So if you're with me and you can hear me or see me, just kind of give me a thumbs up or something and tell me that it's streaming correctly, because mine is kind of idling. So I'm just going to keep going and kind of cross my fingers and hope that it's all going well. I know that there's a little bit of a delay. So feel free to pop in and, let me know how things are. So, so one of the things, again, what I was saying is that one of the things that we try to do, kind of like I am doing right now, is that we try to multitask. So there is not such a thing as multitasking, though we all love to claim that we do it well, including me. Yes, I know. And the reality is that we don't. And our performance and productivity suffers as a result of this. And so I'm going to share with you just 5 secrets to help you become more productive. And I'm going to tell you how you can learn a little bit more and where you can go to get more information. So I'm going to sort of start framing this by, we are all composed of energy. And so if we think about energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed, right? We need to make sure that we are using the energy that we have in the best possible way. So one of the pieces that I talk a lot about is about really learning how to manage all of the different aspects of our energy so that we can function as a whole. Even if we would like to believe that this is how it works, I'd love to hear from you if you're joining me. What are some of the aspects where you struggle in regards to productivity or focus, and what would you like to know more about? So feel free to say hi, pop in, and put in the chat, and I'll make sure to, oh, good, thank you. And I'll be sure to get to you. So the first part of it, and this is probably the most important one, is the overall quality of your energy. So how much energy you actually have, and this is your physical energy. So this is one of the simplest ways to increase your productivity, and it's also one of the hardest ones to do on a consistent basis. I often struggle with this, and this is one of the most important ones. So number one is eat an anti-inflammatory nutritional plan. Why I say this, and there's so much more to this and so much more science, but there are so many foods in our environment that actually cause inflammation in our bodies and inflammation in our brains, which then actually cause us to have headaches and to be fuzzy and slow. And so we are not processing information as quickly as we'd like to, and then we're not able to be as productive as we'd like to because our brains are actually not functioning at the speed that they need to. Number two, add 30 to 60 more minutes of sleep than what you are already getting. So I don't know how much sleep you're getting. This is one that I consistently struggle with, and I can totally tell when I haven't gotten enough sleep and when I do. And so if you can become a little bit more diligent in adding 30 to 60 minutes of sleep than what you're already getting, you will see a huge increase in your productivity. And then third is add 30 minutes of fun, play, movement, ideally some kind of physical activity that is actually fun and playful, and also 30 minutes of rest and relaxation to your day. There is so much research that basically tells us that people that actually take time to nourish their bodies, to nourish their spirits, tend to be more productive, tend to have higher processing speed, and able to physical activity. Yeah, so physical activity, I like to talk about it as physical activity rather than exercise, because often we have associations with exercise as working out that involves the word work. And the idea here is that it's really about making it fun and enjoyable. And I don't think that the idea of working out is fun. And so I want to think about any kind of physical activity, like movement, that you enjoy and brings that sense of pleasure and fun. And so it might be working out for you, but I use it that way because it's really important. So number two, secret number two, and I'm going kind of fast, so if I need to slow down, let me know. If you are having questions or ahas, please post them on the chat and I'll be sure to get to them. Number two is manage your spiritual energy. And this is probably one of the fuzziest things that I probably talk about. And I talk about spiritual energy as intensity. And to me, this is the ignition of it all. This is really the fire where everything flows. So you want to be able to connect to your intuition, to be able to listen to that inner guidance and to your soul purpose. One of the ways in which I see many people most drained is doing work that is literally soul-sucking and totally misaligned with who they are and who they are meant to be in the world. And so it also means that you need to clean up your act. And what I mean is you need to focus on becoming who you need to be to feel connected, fulfilled, and aligned in your soul purpose. So I want to ask you something. I want you to think about 3 words that describe who you are or who you aspire to be or who you need to be to feel most on fire, most aligned, and most in line with really who you are and the purpose that you are here to make and create in the world. So 3 words. So I'm going to give you an example, and if you're listening or if you're watching this at a replay, I'd love for you to come back and post, because I think that the more that we can claim those words and the more that we can talk about them, the more that we can have people in some ways hold us accountable for continuing to show up in that way. Okay, so for instance, my 3 words are courageous, inspiring, and intuitive. Okay, and I say only 3 because our mind doesn't remember more than 3s, and so 3 words that you can really aspire to know this is who I need to be, and that you constantly are evaluating how you're showing up, what you're doing with those 3 words. So it might be generous, it might be kind, funny, grateful, whatever words those might be for you. What are 3 words for you that you want to make sure that you're consistently showing up as, and that it's most alignment for you? Okay. Number 3. So we talked about physical energy, quantity, spiritual energy, intensity. Number 3, emotional energy. And emotional energy is what I call the quality of our energy. So being able to manage the quality of your energy is probably the most powerful things that you can do to be both in the flow of life and also most productive. So why I say this, if you ever have had any kind of heartache or any kind of worry or concern and notice how that has impacted you in your life. So very, very recently, just last week, my little sister lost her kitty, and she was really, really distressed. And I was doing everything I could to help her, but of course I'm in another country and all these things. And I was concerned and worried about her. And it was amazing to see how much my productivity decreased, how much more it took for me to be focusing on the things that I needed to do, because in the background there is all of this emotional energy that is taking its toll. And so you want to decide what is it, how you want to feel. Okay, so emotional energy, decide what is it, the feeling that you want to feel. Generate activities that help you feel that way. So don't allow circumstances to dictate how you feel, because this basically makes you give your power away. Basically choose instead how you want to feel, and then do whatever activity to help you generate that emotion. So if you're unsure about how to do that or what that is, then that might be a really good indicator that you might benefit from working with a coach, or maybe even downloading our guide or joining mastermind group that can really help you do that. And more than that, not just create it, but sustain it, because that's usually where we struggle. Now, number 2, create routines that get you into that flow. So it could be meditation, it could be exercising, dancing, music, art, whatever helps you access that part of you that makes you feel invisible. So think about it. What makes you feel invisible? I love some of the words that are coming through. Awesome, Bonnie. Supportive, inspirational, and loyal. That's beautiful. Love that. Love, love, love. And so I want to encourage to basically put those words up wherever you can see them, to share those, and then to have little reminders that go off, and then to say, okay, am I showing up that way? Because, we all struggle. And so at times I'll have a reminder that's going off and I'm like, oh, am I being any of these things? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. Okay, so what do I need to do to realign to those things, right? And then creating routines that help you get into that flow. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today, and she said, I really love how you always have your makeup on and blah, 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 and I said, well, actually, this is part of my preparation routine. When I started working from home, I realized that I thought, oh, it's going to be great. I can wear my pajamas if I want to. And then I recognized that when I was doing that I wasn't really getting stuff done. I wasn't being productive at all, and I was lagging. And then I realized that actually this me getting ready and me getting my makeup done and doing my hair and all these things were actually part of my mental training to get myself into the right mental and emotional state. And so don't underestimate what are the things that are going to help you do that. Because my background is as a dancer and a ballerina, I would spend time, basically part of my routine before going out on stage was doing my hair and doing my makeup. And that was helping me get into the mindset and getting into the emotional state that I wanted to be. And so I have now recognized that that's an important piece that I need to do. So even if I'm not leaving my house, I am going to be ready, because it's about me being ready and then showing up at my best and be able to be productive. So what is that for you? Okay, so then the number 4 is managing your mental energy. So mental energy is really what we call focus. Okay, and this is probably where we are the most taxed, right? So if we can learn to manage our emotions, then we can kind of take care of like all of that stuff that it's draining our energy on the background. But we still have like 10 gajillion things that are pulling our attention and demanding our attention every single day. And so here are a few things that you can start integrating into your life to become more productive. Number 1, stop reading your email at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. So your life is your life and it's not anyone else's. So don't let anybody else determine what you want to do before you allow others to begin to flood into your mental space. Right? So if that's something that you are in the habit of doing, either reading your email or going into your Facebook feed, then really think about like how much time is that taking out of your day, and then how is that derailing what you are intending to do. So I want to share just a few little tidbits of my, I call it my 30-90-30 productivity formula. And this is something that it's in my long-term program, but I'll kind of just give you a little bit of one of those blocks. So set 30 minutes in the morning to strategize. So do a 30-minute strategy block. And I call it identifying your map. And your map is your most aligned priority. Okay, so this is going to be the thing that you are feeling most aligned and on fire to do. And also the thing that absolutely needs to get done that day for you to advance forward in whatever goal and intention you have set up. So who do you might need to contact, or who do you need to follow up with, or what do you need to create, or and it might involve sending emails, but in some ways when you do that, then you are being more intentional, right? So really create your plan before you allow anybody else into your space. Okay. The second piece is create a 90-minute work block. And you can create accountability, you can set timers, and you can break it up. There's a lot more that goes on into this block. I don't have the time to go into it right this minute. But if you have questions, feel free to post them and I'll try to answer the best I can. So the idea is that you want to create a flow where you are setting, like closing off any other kind of distraction. And then you are saying, I am going to get work done in this particular block. So I usually like to break up my 90-minute block into 45 minutes. And so I do 45. I get up at the 45-minute mark and I like to stretch, doing something physical, dance, bouncing, stretching, whichever way you want, to get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, and then go back in for like the finish line, basically. And then create a 30-minute break. And what this is like really giving your mind a little bit of a break. So creating 30 minutes to then do something that is playful or enjoyable. Maybe you like walk around, maybe you go and you chat with a coworker. Maybe you close your door and you take, a couple, 10 or 15 minutes to do a quick centering meditation, and then you do some art. I love doing some art. I've been just getting into doing more and more art. And now I don't go anywhere without my sketchbook and my pastels, because I know that even when I'm waiting, sometimes when I'm waiting, it's the best time for me to create that little bit of a break. Okay, and then number 5 is create habits and routines that work. Ultimately, our productivity, it is so much a part and influenced by our habits. We are creatures of habit, and ultimately we create whatever we are used to doing. And so if we don't intentionally set some habits, if we don't intentionally create structures and resources to be able to make this happen, especially if you're trying to start a new habit or change an old habit, then without the support, without the accountability, it's going to be really, really hard, because we're creatures of habit. So create, I call a magical morning routine. And just create a routine, a morning routine that is going to set you up for success. One that will include you eating breakfast, you getting mentally ready, you potentially doing some of the physical stuff. So, incorporating in each of these elements to help you get into your best state. Find also your ideal time to work. Each of us have we talk a lot about it as a circadian rhythm, and we all often talk about it in regards to sleep and waking up times. But the reality of it is that circadian rhythm also dictates times when we are super productive in our day and really focused and really on fire, and times when we're kind of like a little bit more sluggish. And so if there is a way that you are able to chunk out the harder work that you have to do when you are feeling at your best, when you're most productive and you're doing like really clear and feeling really focused, do that. And then if you can, then create some of the breaks and doing some of the fun, easy stuff when you know that you're having that lull in the day, then that would be great. So I'll give you an example. I usually have kind of a bit of a lull between 5 and 7 or 5 and 6:30. And so I usually try to take a break during that time unless I absolutely, need to do something. And then that's usually when I eat dinner and I take a break and chill before I decide if I want to go back to work or not. And then create a bedtime routine that works for you. This needs to be really consistent. The more consistent you make it, the better it'll be. Most of us have a hard time winding down and shutting our minds off. And so you need to create a routine that basically steps you down from all of the activity and all of the stuff that you've been involved to being able to like come down to a more relaxed state. And that might involve actually shutting off all kinds of electronics and anything that is going to have reflective light that might stimulate production of cortisol in your brain, so that you can really start allowing your body to produce some of the melatonin that might help you chill out. So it seems like that's kind of took me to the end of our time today. I would love to hear what most powerfully resonated for you, and what are things that you're taking from this that you want to integrate or incorporate into your life. So even if you just take 1 or 2 or 3 and then integrate those into your life, that would be fabulous. If you want to have a little bit more deeper training and or download the guide that goes a lot more in depth into each one of these and will give you access to some quick little trainings, you can go to tinyurl.com/quantum-leap-results. And that is tinyurl.com/quantum-leap-results. And that will give you access to a pretty comprehensive guide and some little training videos on how you can implement some of this information into your life so that you can become more focused, more productive, and access that part of you that is able to perform at your best. So I'd love to hear what most powerfully resonated for you, and any questions that have come up. And I will see you next Monday for Mastery Monday. So until then, defy the ordinary, become extraordinary. Have a lovely, wonderful day.